Look, if you clicked on this video, chances are you're well aware of the splash these albums made in the metal world. Their lineup of Lightning to Master to Justice was and still is one of the most impressive streaks in metal history. The band's heavier focus on songwriting proved that this burgeoning genre is for more than just speed freaks who were too edgy for Motorhead. And these two records are, to this day, benchmarks in the development of thrash as a whole. Spectacular in their own right and showing no signs of wear and tear between each release. I mean, who'd be dumb enough to even think of comparing these two masterpieces? Wait, what are you waiting for? Play the title card already. So hello, I am that dumb, but I do understand why people are hesitant to pit these two against each other. In album ranking, a significant apples to oranges problem arises, where judgment is less about direct metrics and more about choosing which release has the better core idea. Critics end up judging quality only on what's been done before, putting records with new ideas at a major disadvantage when following a popular release. Luckily for us, metal is a genre that's kind to artists who stick to a style as long as there's just enough novelty in new releases. And besides, part of the reason these two albums are so good is because of the consistent structure that they follow. Viewers, if I'm being honest, this is what I really want to focus on for our little detour. I know I promised a contest between albums, but to do that, we need a proper lens in which to compare them. A structure, if you will. He. Some of you in the Metallica fan club have already noticed that these three albums follow a certain pattern with their track lists. That's no accident. Following Kill 'Em All, a collection of songs older than the band itself, came Ride the Lightning, their first chance to actually write an album in the studio. What they were left with was an LP that bled many colors, far removed from the flatness of their previous release. But unlike Kill 'Em All, a tracklist this diverse can't just have songs thrown on randomly without becoming a mess. Thus came the importance of structure. In music, album structure can be used to set a mood or pace for how songs will develop throughout. With classic Metallica, there's always an explosive intro followed by a slow descent to more melodic climbs through the first half. Andriy Vasilenko's essay on the subject is amazing, a major inspiration for this video in fact. It focuses on the number 4 ballad and how the physical cassette format factored into its creation. As for the second half, there's less intentionality with track placement, but we could see another way Metallica gave structure to their music: archetypes. You can split hairs about specific arrangements, but with metal in particular, the process sounds much more like, ooh, we need an instrumental, we need a punchy intro, this'll be our title track, etc, etc, etc. All this to say, there are songs that fit a certain structure and songs that fit the structure of an album, and everything in between. So with the why out of the way, let's dive into how Metallica designed their classic albums. This will make comparing these two records easy because they've got a similar layout and thematic parallels in their songs. To do this, I've created a fake track list that best showcases the structure all of these albums followed. This is, in essence,
the ultimate Metallica album.
The platonic ideal or purest form these records could take. And since this is the band's whole 80s lineup, I've thrown And Justice for All into the mix to round it out. Yeah, you thought I was done glazing this album up, but you were wrong. So here it is, the ultimate Metallica album. First off is the intro thrasher. I call it the intro thrasher not only because it opens the album, but also because its defining feature is a long intro. A slow harmony building into explosive speed metal that's often one of the fastest tracks on the album. With the build-up of the intro and its brisk length, it serves as the record's hook. Odd for a genre that's supposed to be all hooks all the time, but I digress. These tracks include Fight Fire with Fire, Battery, and Blackened. Song 2, He, is the title track, which is more to it than being the name of the album, I promise. It is a burst of a song, and it gets to that length because of the sheer quantity of ideas it presents. It's very much the how many riffs can we fit in one song, and it best showcases the band's songwriting prowess and how they stitch these sections together. It's also slower than the intro thrasher, not too much slower, but expect to see a lot of halftime verses or breakdowns in the mix as opposed to straight speed metal. These tracks include Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and Justice for All, no doy. For track 3, The Bulldozer, we go even slower than before, undoubtedly the chuggiest cut on the record. While long, it doesn't have as much variation between sections as tracks before and after it. Its core is that monstrous main riff that carries the whole song. If there is a solo, it's very understated, and if not, the most you'll get is a teensy harmony part. These tracks include For Whom the Bell Tolls, The Thing That Should Not Be, and both Eye of the Beholder and Harvester of Sorrow. Oh yeah, here's the first blemish on our perfect track list. Beholder does fit perfectly as the Bulldozer, but the problem is so does Harvester, which is also much similar in structure to Bell Tolls than Thing than Beholder is. And since Justice has an extra spot on its track list, I decided to truncate these into one slot. If you don't like it, see then mauled, I guess. LOL. Okay, this one's easy. The number 4 ballad, easily Metallica's longest standing trope song, always sporting a clean intro, which, in keeping with the trend of the last 2 tracks, is even slower than the Bulldozer. But these are classic Metallica ballads, so they don't stay soft, eventually morphing into traditional heavy metal fare or even full-on speed metal. They're a highlight of the record, much like the title track, dense with parts and showcasing how the band could connect opposing characters together while still being coherent. Again, watch Andri's video for more detail, it's very good. I mean it, watch it right now. These tracks include Fade to Black, Welcome Home Sanitarium, and One. With the after ballad Thrasher, we return to the realm of speculation. If you watch Andri's video, like I told you to do, and you gel with the music format theory, then a Thrasher after the ballad makes sense when flipping cassettes. The song's fast, but not as fast as the intro Thrasher, samey but not as monotonous as the Bulldozer, sporting a distinct and epic solo. But I speculate because only 2 of the band's classic records have a short, punchy song following the ballad. Master of Puppets has Disposable Heroes, which is a palate cleanser, but it's far too intricate to fit this archetype and belongs somewhere else in my opinion. These tracks include Trapped Under Ice and The Shortest Straw. The 6th track brings us to our next gray area in that I don't know what the hell it is. Well, I suppose one shared trait is that these tracks sound too similar to other tracks on the record. In that sense, this is the filler track, and for whatever reason, Metallica likes to put their filler tracks at number 6. If you want to quibble about me putting 2 songs for the Bulldozer, you could leave Harvester of Sorrow here since it is track 6 and takes a lot from Beholder structurally. These songs include Escape and Leper Messiah. At cut 7, we have another easy one, the almost title track. Everything I said about the title track applies here. It's long, filled to bursting with different sections, multiple solos, the works. Some of these ended up inspiring future title tracks, like with Creeping Death. That they were before getting replaced by another song, as with Disposable Heroes. I mean, sweet Jesus, look at that cover art. These tracks include Creeping Death, Disposable Heroes, and Frayed Ends of Sanity. The 8th cut is the Metallica instrumental, aka the Cliff Burton song. It's one of the longest on the album with a massive intro that builds into the main section. No vocals, obviously, and while similar to the title track with its large set pieces and acoustic sections, it's much slower, only breaking into mid-tempos. I call this the Cliff Burton song because whether the bass can be heard or not, his hand can always be felt on the track. It's his baby, to be honest. These tracks include Call of Cthulhu, Orion, and To Live Is To Die. And now the last song, the outro Thrasher. It's fast, faster than the opener even, with no halftime breaks and 16th chugging on the rhythm guitars throughout. It provides the album with the explosive finale it truly deserves, finally paying off the tension built from the instrumental. These tracks include Damage Inc. and Dyer's Eve. Alright, so now that we've picked our roles, let's get into the Sweet 16. pulling each song archetype from either Lightning or Puppets and putting them head to head to see which one's better. The winner gets 2 points, loser gets 1 point, because let's be real, these albums have no real losers. And yes, while this is entirely subjective, I won't be throwing objectivity out the window here. Don't take this too seriously. I'd very much like to live, please. I love Fight Fire with Fire, I love that harpsichord intro it has, I love the solo, I love everything about it, but I think Battery just about cinches out a victory because of that acoustic intro, multiple killer solos, and all those great riffs. Oh Jesus, are they all gonna be this hard to choose from? Again, I love Ride the Lightning, I think it's super underrated, and it has one of the best solos in all of Metallica's discography, but again, it's Master of Puppets. How can you beat that?
It's the Stranger Things song!
I think this is a pretty easy win for Bell Tolls. I don't hate the thing that should not be per se, but between that lead bass part and just crushing rhythm guitar section with those lead harmonies, Bell Tolls takes it. Thing would have been better off without a solo anyway. Okay, now we have the first real painful choice I gotta make. Sanitarium has some fantastic solos and that speed metal section is legendary, but Fade to Black more lives up to the hype of being a number 4 ballad. Harmonies out the ass, great acoustic section, I gotta give it to Fade to Black. Since Master doesn't have a punchy after ballad thrasher, we're gonna skip to the weirdos, and here we have the saddest matchup of Escape versus Leper Messiah. I guess I'll give it to Leper because while the intro is pretty uninspired, that fast section is awesome. Oh, this one hurts me. Like, deep down it hurts me. I love Disposable Hero so much, I think it's one of the deepest cuts the band's ever made and has an excellent solo. Why does that sound familiar? But it's going up against Creeping Death. Creeping Death wins. All tied up, and we have the penultimate round between the two instrumentals. Honestly, I've never been a fan of Cthulhu, and Orion is Cliff Burton's masterpiece, so Orion takes it for Master of Puppets. 2 songs left, and this one's for all the marbles. Will Ride the Lightning tie it up, or will Master of Puppets secure a decisive victory? Well, I'm giving this one to Damage Inc., because while Trapped is a solid cut, it borrows too much from the title track in my opinion, whereas Damage is more going for it with that bass intro. Damage Inc. wins, which means Master of Puppets is quantifiably the better Metallica album. So yeah, that's it. Master of Puppets is objectively the best Metallica album of all time. I'm right, you're wrong. Take that, Rate Your Music. You mean nothing to me! I kid, of course. Again, please don't take this as some be-all, end-all thing. Both albums are solid in their own right, and this could have gone either way easily depending on preference. Nothing about the verses section said here hasn't been said elsewhere. I just think the quality of tracks like Leper Messiah and Damage Inc. just about pushes Puppets over the edge for me. This was originally going to be part of the Justice video essay, but I had so much fun discovering patterns in these classic records that I had to make it its own video. So if you liked that video, or this one, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, follow my Patreon, and that's it. Bye.